Hachette Audio presents Blazing Eye Sees All, Love Has Won, False Prophets, and the Fever Dream of the American New Age. Written and read by Leah Sottile. For Joe, who firewalks with me. Any primatologist knows, though, that to decipher a dominance hierarchy, you don't watch for aggression in the dominants. You look for signs of fear in the subordinates. Allison Jolly, Lords and Lemurs. As a woman, I was taught to always be hungry. Women are well acquainted with thirst. Yeah, we could eat just about anything. We might even eat your hate up, like love. Bikini Kill. Part 1. The 10 of Swords. Chapter 1. 200 million years ago, the Earth was like a house with all of its furniture piled into one corner. The 7 continents of our planet were, back then, just one. Australia was shoved into Antarctica. India flopped nearby. South America fit into the elbow crook of Africa, and the land that would one day become the island of Madagascar was trapped in the midst of it all. The continental plates that act as the foundation of the world began to move, as they are wont to do. As one dragged over another, volcanic magma burbled up from the planet's angry core, rising toward the Earth's surface, searing apart the giant mass of land into jagged new pieces. Those pieces drifted. For eons upon eons upon eons, they kept moving as the planet underwent a great reorganization. As everything drifted, Madagascar, a wisp of land, spun like a feather in the wind until it settled, finally, 250 miles off the eastern coast of Africa. Millions more years passed. In the 1860s, a British zoologist named Philip Letley Sclater sat down at his desk to write an essay about lemurs, those strange, curious-eyed primates. He attempted to explain something that had, until that point, been a curiosity to men like him, men of answers, men of science. Sclater was a lawyer, and, in the zoological world, an ornithologist mostly, a birdman. But in 1864, he published his essay about lemurs in a small academic journal. At that point, he wrote, the animals primarily lived on the island of Madagascar, but lemur fossils had been unearthed in India as well. India, but not Africa. This was a strange mystery. How could the same species be found in two places with a wide, gaping ocean between them, but not across the narrow 250-mile-wide channel that separated the African island from the African continent? Sclater had a theory. In his essay, he posited that a massive continent had once stretched between Madagascar and India, and that continent had simply vanished. He said lemurs were a relic of this lost world, a living connection to it. I should propose the name Lemuria, Sclater declared. And with that, a place was born. In one way, Sclater's story had everything to do with the planet's slow, eternal rearrangement. And yet, he had no idea that the land had been forever roaming. Scientists had not yet published findings about continental drift, and so Sclater did not know that the Earth was slowly shifting underneath his feet as he came up with this idea of a lost place. Late in his life, Sclater would hedge on his lost land theory, characterizing the idea as hypothetical. But by then, some people had already taken the idea of Lemuria and run with it. An Australian science journal discussed it not as theory, but fact. Writers composed speculative stories about Lemurians, what they might have looked like, how they spoke, whether or not they kept pets. When Sclater died in 1913, it was his largest legacy, the story of a place that was never a place, called Lemuria. All the while, the earth kept moving. Chapter 2. From the front window of a yellow house in the remote southern Colorado desert, purple twinkle lights flickered, pulsed, throbbed like tiny sirens in the dark. It was just before midnight on April 28, 2021, when the sound of tires crunched against the gravel driveway of 4 Alcedo Court as a fleet of law enforcement vehicles pulled in. The moon was full. A dog barked at their arrival. The deputies had come to see Mother. A thin man with a closely trimmed black beard and long, straight hair met them at the front door. The Saguache County officers knew by then that people called this man Father, or Father God. His legal name was Jason Castillo. Though it was late, he was dressed in a long-sleeve white shirt tucked into jeans, which were held up on his gaunt frame with a black leather belt. The man greeted them, politely folding his hands in front of his body. One officer asked Jason how many people were inside the house. 5 beings and a child, he said, and my wife. The officer said they had a warrant to search the property and to do a welfare check on the child, and they wanted to see Mother. He nodded. Mother is in rest, he said. She has rested. Inside, at the center of the house, was a large living room painted yellow, decorated in a style one might encounter at an organic food co-op or a children's classroom. Mandalas and pink-petaled flowers were drawn on the walls. Across the ceiling, a rainbow arched from one fluffy white cloud to another. A painting depicted the earth with a pulsing rainbow heart. Starship, it read. Twinkle lights blinked from every wall and corner. Garlands of pink outlined the room, and strands of purple were laid across the back of a couch. A poster-sized photograph of a thin, white woman with her eyes closed and hands clasped in prayer hung on one wall. A contented smile spread across her face. This was the one they called Mother God, and she, too, was outlined in lights. The people who lived there were a part of a spiritual group Mother deemed Love Has Won, and they had come from around the world to her side. They believed themselves to be a glowing violet light in a world of darkness, assisting humankind into a higher spiritual dimension. This ascent was imminent. Mother had told them so. Over time, she had also taught them that she had not only created the earth and every being on it, but that she was the earth. She was the prime source creator. She was everything. The feminine life force from which all creation had been birthed, one half of a twin flame with a masculine energy called Father God, the man at the door. Mother God, Mom, as her acolytes more often referred to her, was power incarnate. Father acted as a disciplinarian and guard, but was otherwise ancillary, a shoulder for Mother God to lean on when the burden of creating everything and being everything became too painful to bear alone. Perhaps more important than any other single idea collectively held by the people of Love Has Won was their belief that Mother God was a reincarnated being who once ruled as a queen of a continent called Lemuria. According to Mother, Lemuria had been a highly advanced, ancient fifth-dimensional civilization of twinkling cities and crystal technology. About 27,000 years ago, the Lemurians had mastered true enlightenment before being destroyed. Lemuria had defended itself in a great battle with a greedy, violent adversary called Atlantis. During the war, both civilizations had been destroyed and sunk to the bottom of the oceans, never to be seen again. But amid all the chaos, Mother God ascended from the rubble unharmed. Other Lemurians escaped as well, but were left in a state of permanent amnesia. They could no longer remember their true origin, their god selves, or their connection to the source, a Love Has Won follower named Archaea Aurora wrote in a book about Mother God's teachings. When Atlantis toppled Lemuria, it was the first shot fired in a thousands-year spiritual battle between the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?